Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to Inside the Business Mind with Coach Powell. Today, we have a special guest for you. And before we even get started, today's show is super special because today's show is literally in honor of the 100th anniversary of the Bigger and Better Business Program of Phi Beta Sigma. The Bigger and Better Business Program of Phi Beta Sigma is one of the most exciting initiatives that I think happens within all of the D9 organizations. I'll tell you, that's our first national program. It is the reason why I decided to become a Sigma man because it's really a testament to the fact that Sigma men are all about business, and so we have always been supportive of small businesses, always been supportive of things that matter to the economic future for the country, and we've always been at the forefront of developing programs and exciting things that will help highlight that initiative and those programs. So today's program is no different. We have an exciting speaker that's going to be coming forward and sharing with you all the wisdom of small business finance. My brother Daniel Winton is a very, very special guest for us. He's not a Sigma man yet, but we'll probably get him in sometime soon. We'll work it out. We'll strong arm him, do whatever we need to do because we always get the best talent anyway. And so I'm glad he's backstage right now. And a couple of my brothers are backstage. They're getting keyed up with their questions. And brothers, I would like to remind you all, if you have any questions about small business finance of any type, you can put it in the chat. You can put that information in your chat on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. And if we can't respond to those questions directly tonight, we will respond to them in a future event, or we will respond to them online in the chat that you choose. Now, tonight's show is going to be broadcast on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook, and then later on Instagram. And so it'll be available for anybody to watch it in the future. Like all of our programs and all of our opportunities that we present are going to be useful for the public. So this is not just a Sigma thing. I'm glad to see my brothers backstage and they're chomping at the bit with their questions. And I'm sure we're going to have a good time, a great discussion. Today's discussion is not going to be a presentation. It's going to be like a discussion about small business finance between Daniel and I. And I know Daniel has a lot to share. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about Daniel, and then I'm going to bring him on stage and let him tell you about himself. First of all, I met Daniel at a conference where we were both supporting a women's business conference and as speakers and leaders in that particular conference. And we hit it off amazingly. It's just like, two peas in the pot right off the bat. He's a little bit competitive. He doesn't like to lose at pool, but he does all right. He does all right. I still beat him to death, but I didn't beat the brakes off of him. I just made sure he knew that I was a dominant player in the room. But it was all about fun for me. I don't really like that winning thing. I just make sure I have a lot of good time. So we'll probably talk a little bit about that. But Daniel is a small business genius. I mean, he really has spent the time in the trenches to learn everything that there is to learn about the insides and outs of small business finance. So he knows a lot about the lending process for sure. He works with almost more than 100 lenders that he's got on board to help small businesses finance almost any deal possible. He knows a lot about formal lending as well as informal lending. He's got some strategic things that he's got specifically in his organization that he's going to bring to the table and talk with us a little bit about tonight. He's just a wonderful person. There's very few people that I've met, and I've met tons of entrepreneurs and business leaders over the years. There's very few people that I would say it's a class act. I mean, that's what Daniel Winton is. He's a class act, and his group Operating in the Black I've already worked with him on several deals that I've been able to share with him, and that has gone forward really, really well. And he hasn't dropped the ball not once. And so when you have a person who can perform at that level, you do everything you can to support them. And this is one of the initiatives where we're going to support them. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let me introduce you to the business guru, the mind, the financial genius, Mr. Daniel Winton.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
How are you, Daniel? How's it going, man?
I love that introduction. That was wonderful. We could have left out that part about getting beat at pool, but other than that, that was spot on. Spot on. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, Daniel, this is your platform. Tell us all about what you're doing with Operating the Black, how you got it started, what's exciting to you about it going forward. And I'm going to let you take it away, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Go for it.
Well, thank you very much, Coach. Operating in the black was born out of what we veterans here in Tampa believed was necessity. There were a few guys that worked for one of the largest lenders in the nation as far as business capital. And we were noticing that women, people of color in general, were getting loans at 49% interest. And we said, you know what? We think we can do something better than this. So operating in the black was born out of that need to find financing that makes sense for our community. And the other thing that anyone who's ever gone and filled out an application get nervous and you wonder, well, what happens to that information and all the checks and everything that happens with that. And when that information comes back, and for some reason you're told no, uh, there are many things that you can be told no to. You didn't sign up for a class and it was full by the time that you had registered for it, or you can try to do many things. But when you actually put yourself out there, put your social security number on the line, and someone tells you that you're not good enough, it really has a physical impact on your body. You will literally get ill from trying to apply for a loan. So we found just a lot of people get stuck in just that procedure right there, just being afraid to even see if they qualify for a loan or not. And being that we have this type of experience ourselves, we understand. And we really just tell people, if you get turned down for a loan, it is not your fault. And it truly isn't, because there is all kinds of money out there. And the only reason that lender told you no is that they are not connected with the right lending institution to assist you with the needs that you have. So that's why here we work with over 135 lending institutions across the United States, private lenders, private institutions as well, to assist us in providing the most access for funding for people who are looking to actually get their business funded. The other thing that we do, and what we see, is that, well, of course, you should have a business plan, but preparing yourself and getting ready for your business should always start with a credit report, making sure you know what is on your credit. As a matter of fact, we always recommend that you use Identity IQ, Experian, one of the major institutions, and you pull that credit and you monitor your credit. The most successful signal, or the most identifiable trait of all successful business owners, is that they monitor their credit. They know where they are at all times. So we always recommend, at a minimum, when you are starting your business, that you should have a 3-bureau credit report in your possession, that you're monitoring your credit progression each and every month. It's going to save you from getting your identity stolen, all kinds of benefits. But the bottom line is, it lets you know where you are. Now, again, as I was speaking with you earlier, there are loans for literally every credit score out there. You can have a credit score of 500 to 550. You're going to get a higher rate, but there are loans out there. The better loans are any credit scores that are over 700. But to get back to the credit report, we have an organization that we are partnered with to assist you in getting your credit repaired or fixed or anything else. It's a completely professional service with credit attorneys that will talk to you about your particular credit report, and they go through everything with a fine-tooth comb. So we tell you, don't pay off anything, don't do anything until you speak with someone who is a professional in the field regarding credit. So that's the first place that you want to start. I always tell people, your credit report is like your resume. So you want to make sure that resume is tight when you're actually applying for a job. The same thing with your credit report. You want to make sure that there's no errors, that where you live is correct, where you work is correct, all of the loans that you've had paid off and kept. make sure that they are all correct. Now, the primary function that we love about our company, our flagship product, is called Startup Business Funding, where if you have a FICO score of 685 or higher, carry a major credit card such as a Visa or a MasterCard, and have zero derogatories, meaning no lates, no repossessions, no foreclosures, we can get you up to $250,000 at 0% interest. And that stays at that 0% interest lasts anywhere from 12 to 18 months. And people will come to me and say, well, Daniel, I was born in the night, but it wasn't last night. No one's out here giving away $250,000 at 0%. What's the catch? This can't be true. It's too good to be true. And I let them know it's not too good to be true. It's just too good to be free. So the organization charges you a rate of 9.9% to find the funding for you. You don't pay that up front. They will send you an invoice after everything is taken care of. You use one of your lines of credit to pay for that, and you're done as far as that, and you have up to $250,000 to get your business started. Now, once we get you the proper funding and you're making revenue, the next thing that we will recommend to you, because you fixed your credit, you've got some money to start your business. Now, the next thing is your identity. Most people will fund their business out of their own pocket, or they'll ask their parents for money. They'll take a loan against the house, all of those different things. The vast majority of those types of loans are born against your Social Security number. And the way that works is that any loans that report to your Social Security number has an adverse effect on your personal credit. So, for instance, if you had a $25,000 credit card from Navy Federal Credit Union that reported in your name, you can only use up to 8,000 of that 25,000. Any more than that, and it starts bringing your credit down. And likewise, if you have a $1,000 credit card from Citibank, you can't use any more than $300 of that card before it starts having an adverse effect on your credit report. So those are some of the things that you can do as a person to make sure that your credit score always stays high by staying away from low limit credit cards, number one, and making sure that your credit is that you're not using any more than 30% of the available credit on any of your credit cards, and making sure on any other forms of credit that you're paying your credit on time. Now, going back to what I was mentioning is business credit. Now, business credit reports on your EIN, which is nothing more than a Social Security number for your business. And we help you, we have a program that helps you build your business credit, where you can walk into any bank across the United States and have it works just like your Social Security number. It's a representation of your business, and you can get lines of credit based on solely on the EIN. And why that is so important is that you always have this battle in business of either starving your family or starving your company for the resources that it needs. By having established business credit, you no longer have to worry about that. And so many times we see that is that people will go out, they'll get a $75,000, $100,000 loan on their personal credit. They'll get their business started, and now when they want to buy something for their home, whether they need a car or they need to make some improvements around the house or even some necessary repairs, they can't do it because the business took up $100,000 and took their credit score from possibly a 700, 770 down to a 600 or 650. So now they're no longer lendable. So not only is the business at risk, but also your personal risk, your personal family's at risk because you have no ability to maneuver at all. So that's one of the reasons why we highly recommend that once you get funding and you're starting to make a little bit of revenue, we move you right into getting business credit established. Now, some of the other programs that we also have here uh, is we fund government contracts. So, and the great thing and the exciting thing about government contracts is that we don't need for you to have great credit. One of the few institutions out there that does not require you to have great credit. As long as you have the government contract, we will give you mobilization money if you need to buy things to get started with that contract. We will give you the mobilization funding to get that started. If you need a letter, if the government contract is requiring you to say, I have funding so that I and the government needs to see that you are able to actually perform under the contract, we have a letter that we can send, basically stating the line of credit that we've extended to you. But the bottom line is the government contract guarantees the loan. So that's the other exciting program. And then the last thing that we have, if you are a real estate investor, we have what is called the 7X program, where if you have $100,000 or whatever you have in your savings account, it's 7X. So let's say, for instance, you had $100,000 in a checking account. Our bank will give you a real estate line of credit for $700,000. Now, that line of credit can only be used to buy housing. Can't use it to buy drapes or anything else like that, but you can use that to purchase houses. So they have the program set up, and I don't want to take up too much time going into the particulars on that, but it is definitely a program. We take care of all the repairs. We fund the repairs. We fund up to 85% of the purchase price of the home, and it's been growing like gangbusters. Can't say enough about that particular program. But to kind of circle back to the very beginning, uh, we are very humble because we understand the power of no. And that's why we work ourselves into the ground to have lenders because we never want to tell anyone no. That is one of the things that we accept as our failure, and we make sure that you don't wear that as a failure. Our doors are always open. There will never be anyone here because that is our only fire policy. We don't fire people, but there's our only fire policy is disrespecting small business owners. That will get you out of the doors here. When I was stationed overseas for the war, Desert Shield, Desert Storm, we weren't necessarily afraid, but it was the largest wartime activity that the United States had in quite a while. But we knew we had trained well. We knew we were well prepared. We knew we had the equipment, and we definitely had the desire. We weren't quite sure how the American people felt, especially after a major war like Vietnam. We had some skirmishes in between that. But when you can go to the post office and they invite you to go over there, and you just see boxes and boxes and tons of to any soldier letters and all kinds of things that facilitated your existence and made being out in the desert a much nicer experience. We knew that the American people were behind us, and we knew that it wasn't John Doe that was sending all that stuff. Well, they were sending it, but it was small business owners across the United States that made sure we had what we needed. So we love every small business owner. If you have a desire to be more than average and ordinary, we will fight to make sure that you have the necessary funding to make your dreams come true.
Outstanding, outstanding. Listen, I got some brothers who are veterans on the call, and so they don't make mistakes in thinking that, you're a real veteran. He's with the Air Force guys. He wasn't with the Army or the Marine Corps. He's with the Air Force, so,
Yeah,
we can give him some credit.
I was one of those guys, coach, that I thought that I was going to be running around in a blue shirt and a 7-level screwdriver tuning up radios, and I wound up in a combat comm unit. So no, I was out there in those GP mediums and GP larges, just like the Army, just like the Marines. So
Fantastic, fantastic. So listen, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. I know my brothers are getting teed up. They probably have some questions they want to ask you too. And gentlemen, like I remind you, if you have a question, just put your hand up. I'll see you backstage, and I can bring you upstage if you have a question about anything. I'm going to start asking Daniel some of the traditional inside the business mind questions that we ask everybody we ever interview. And it's really the whole point of these kinds of questions are not to deal so much with the business, but with the character of you, Daniel, because
okay,
a lot of times your competence is something that we can all take for granted, but we can't take your character for granted. So these questions are really outlined to help people understand, not just, that's what we call it inside the business mind, right? It's not just the business trappings, but who are you? And so my first question
okay.
is literally about your vision. Where do you see operating in the Black going in the future? What is the ultimate end of what you're doing?
The ultimate goal of this organization is to be in all 50 states and in all towns of any population of any result. I mean, I want to say any Black population, but we're really opening it up just to make sure that everyone has access to this information. But we want to be a household lending name that when people need money and they need that support, they just don't want to hear no. And that's really the bottom line is that we want to make sure that when a person walks into our office, they're treated with respect and decency, and that they understand exactly what it takes to get the type of money that they are looking to get.
So my brother Nicholas Gardner asked the question back there. I saw in the chat. He doesn't want to come on stage. He's a little shy. He's a little camera shy.
Right.
He's handsome, but he doesn't want anybody to know it because he's scared all the girls may kind of run over him or stuff like that. I understand, brother Gardner. I like to keep it quiet myself, like that. But he wants to know if you got programs for real estate investors, which you already shared the program. Is there any deeper details you can go into about the real estate investors program that you have?
To answer his question directly, yes, we do. Most of if you're looking to immediately build, now raw land itself, most lenders, there are specified lenders. We have maybe 2 or 3 in our portfolio that deal with just raw land. But if you are looking to develop the land, then there's a whole plethora of lenders out there that would assist you in doing that. So yes, that's not a challenge. They like to make sure that you have some money to put down to make sure that the land, that the surveys have been done, that is a viable place that can be built on. What does the local government think about the project that you've envisioned doing? So those are some of the little things that you really need to have taken care of before you try to pursue purchasing raw land.
Did that answer your question, brother Gardner? Okay, he's nodding his head back there, so I see he must be okay with it. Um, um, okay, the next question I have for you is literally a question of opportunities. Where do you see the greatest opportunities for you to grow operating in the Black?
I think that obviously with the new political landscape, I think this was something that God had been preparing us for 5. We've been in business for 6 years, so we've been preparing for this moment for 5 years. We kind of felt like this was eventually going to happen. And the idea is that we all need to kind of take ownership of being an African American or American African and say, okay, what is it that I can do to sustain the growth of who we are as a culture, as a people? And our goal on that is to make sure that you have the access to do the dreams that you want to do. So we are prepared. This is, like I said, this was something that we were kind of seeing 5 or 6 years ago that may happen. But the reality is now is that, especially with the development of AI, that normal jobs are not going to be there. We in the 1900s, 1912, it was 85% people work for themselves, 15% work for a factory, and then after that, the Industrial Revolution put us where 85% of people were working for factories, 15% of the people were not working for themselves. We're getting ready to flip back over where people are going to start working for themselves again. And if you work for yourself, you're going to need funding. So we really believe this business is just going to take off. I mean, we're already to capacity. That's why we had to bring on AI so that we can actually get more capacity to bring more customers in. But we also wanted to make sure that we stay true to the core of our business, is treating everyone that comes through that door or on that phone call like a human being, like we would want to be treated ourselves.
I love that. Following the golden rule is always an important, you know, aspect to any kind of business where it's human facing, right? Where you're going to be dealing with people, you really do want to make sure they're treated with the highest level of respect and kindness and compassion as you possibly can. Instead of the opposite, like, because we're not data sets, right? We're human beings.
Well, you would think that, but because I work in money, when you get turned down for a car, they are not trying to spare your feelings. Or you turn
Right,
down for anything, they don't spare your feelings. We just want
right,
to make
right,
sure that and to make sure that the playing field is level, because we do
right.
business with everybody, so we get a lot of people through. That's it.
You and I can talk about this kind of stuff all night long. We know how unfair, these situations can be, and it's not necessarily because of anything tangible. It's those intangibles, right?
Yeah.
Any reason that they're looking for any reason to tell you no,
Well,
just because.
I don't know if it's necessarily that they're looking for any reason to tell you no. It's that there are two things that happen, coach, is that people, when they seek a loan, they think the bank is just printing money, and they don't really feel that there should be any qualifications to get money. And I said, wait a minute, if you loaned me $100,000, what kind of information would you want from me? And when you start flipping that over on somebody else, they start understanding. And anytime you fill out an application and it makes it pass, it sits on the desk of a real human being.
Right,
That real human being has a wife. That real human being has a husband. They have children. They have a mortgage just like you. They have a car payment just like you. Okay? And then they're going to look down there and they're going to see all the information that's provided on the form. And cultural biases are there, but we know that. So if you know that somebody, a human being with real bills, with real responsibilities, is going to see your application, why not make sure that everything is correct? Make sure that that credit is sparkling. Make sure that all the boxes are checked. I've had a customer that they filled out the application by hand, and I sent it back. I said, there is absolutely no way that I'm going to allow you to submit that, because that's good. I said, you're beautiful on your credit. You're beautiful. I said, this is going to hurt you. We're not going to allow you to do that. Get your
right,
wife, get somebody to help you fill this out. So, you just have to have empathy, because you want to have empathy. But the
right.
reality is that somebody that gets your credit report, they've got responsibilities just like you. All right.
Absolutely, absolutely. So intuitively, and I know you because you've been in the business so long, you've been in the industry so long, and you understand this. Intuitively, how do you think AI is going to make a difference for both the customer experience as well as the underwriting experience?
The customer experience, everything is going to be much, much faster. So you'll be able to call in, you'll be able to get access to answers much faster. You will not have the delays that you were experiencing before, the hour and a half phone call, waiting to get somebody on the line. All of that kind of stuff is going to go away. Scheduling phone calls, making sure that you're getting in front of the right people. all those types of challenges today that exist are going to go away. Now, the downside of that is that anything that AI can touch, they can replace the human being. So you have to really make sure that you're putting yourself where. I was just talking to a young lady the other day. She obstetrician. No, not obstetrician. What's the for the eyes? And she was very
Ophthalmologist.
Ophthalmologist, right? She said, "I'm really concerned about being replaced." And I called Coach Sean on that. And I said, "Hey, what do you think about that?" And he goes, "No." I said, "She doesn't have anything to worry about." Because those types of specialties still require a great deal of hands-on. He says, "Would you let a computer stick a needle in your eye?" I said, "No, I don't even want people sticking their hands in my eyes." So those types of things where the human touch is necessary, you're going to still see those jobs around. They'll just be able to be much more efficient. They'll be able to do a lot more things, but everything that they can replace with computers and AI and everything else, they're absolutely going to do. They're absolutely.
Okay. That's awesome. That is awesome. In terms of commitment, what do you think we, the consumers out there, need to commit to more to make it easier for lending professionals, venture capitalists, alternative investment people? Um, Obviously, filling out the application completely, I got that part.
Right.
But is there anything else that we need to double down on and make sure that we do exceptionally well?
Well, the only thing that I can say is that the vast majority of people are just wonderful people. They're just absolutely genuine. That's why I love doing this job. I mean, there is no better people out there than people who want to start a business or people who own businesses that are parts of their community and providing jobs. You just can't find better people than that. But it always comes back down to the credit report, and people will spend years on getting their business plan right. They'll spend years saving up money. They'll spend years researching and development and all the other things. And it is so heartbreaking to see them put all that work in and they come into with a 550 credit score. And I tell them, that is going to hurt you. The lender themselves will probably tell you no, even though it's a great idea based on the low credit score. So that's one of the reasons why it took us about 3 years to find the right institution that helps with making sure that people understand credit, how to manage their credit, all the other different tools that you can use to get that right. But the bottom line is that the person with the strongest credit report is the one that gets the loan each and every time. And it's something that we can do. But but it seems like it's an afterthought. It really does.
Wow. That's so encouraging that you should say that because a lot of times, I think people have the misperception that, that the financial world is so racially charged that they don't even have a shot from jump. So they avoid the interaction and the engagement, right, with their bankers, with their lenders, with everybody that they probably could use as a great tool for their business. Speaking of,
Right.
I know that you often will tell an entrepreneur and a business leader, well, here's what you need to do to win this contract or to make this look prettier so that you get what you need to do. And so
Right.
so when people don't understand that, because people who have been involved with the game for as long as you have and I have, understand that there are ways about doing this thing that you're not gonna be able to see on every website. You can
Right.
review as many websites as you want to. They're not going to tell you all of the things that you need to tell, but it's
Well,
not as bad.
no, and the reason why is that the less the lower or the least amount of knowledge that you have as a consumer helps me because I get to charge you a higher interest rate because you didn't pay off a $100 credit card when you were in college, and now that's still showing on there. and you've been out of college for 25 years, and that's still making you pay 4 or 5 percentage points higher than if you just went ahead and had somebody get that off. Okay?
Right.
You know, why do I need to take the time to tell you how to save money? That's what all this stuff is generated around. And as far as the racial component, there is a racial component, but these people want to loan money. That's how they make their money. And they're going to use that racial component against you because they're going to say, now, you know, Daniel, we normally don't make this kind of loan, but because it's you, and they're looking at the numbers, you're qualified for that loan. But now I can sell you a percentage point higher or a little higher to make money. Okay, so those types of games, and it's not really nefarious activity. It's just sales and making more money for their banking institution. Okay,
right.
But then yes, there are just some people that are just flat out evil, not trying to do the right thing, that want to embarrass you. I had a circumstance like that when I was an airman when I was an airman. I was trying to open up a pizzeria, and I went in there, had good credit, everything else. And the guy turned me down because he turned the computer screen around. He says, "Mr. Winton, this is why we're turning you down. You need to have $50,000 in the bank like me. You need to have this like me. You need to have these types of investments like this if you want that kind of money," which was absolutely untrue. I went and took my truck, and I got a loan against my truck because I had it already paid off. I didn't need any of that. That was an asset. Got a loan, same place, different guy, same building to get my business started when I wanted a little pizzeria. So yeah, there are some people out there that are going to do that. But as business owners, that's just part of the game. You stay positive, you don't quit, you keep pushing. I'm not, Coach Powell, you know that you've seen so much in your business, and after a while, you don't even care. What's the new obstacle today? The first, I just got out of 2 Category 4 hurricanes. The first hurricane destroyed my house. I went and rented a place, an apartment, moved in. Not even 10 days later, another Category 4 destroys that one. So now we try to make phone calls and keep everybody satisfied and do all the loans. You just don't care anymore after a while. So what's next? I'm still alive. I still got access to the internet. Somebody's getting a loan. That's how we look at life over here. I don't care anymore.
I love it. I love it. What you're demonstrating is literally just that small business resilience, right? There's so many obstacles that come in our way. Most of them unplanned, and we couldn't see them coming. It's macro stuff that we couldn't see coming, environmental stuff that we couldn't see coming, but we got to persevere and keep pushing. And you've built the systems that literally they if they tried to take you out of business, they could.
Right now, we have so many people that we've helped over the years now. Yes, the business is there. But again, what are the 3 components? You have to be the fastest, you have to be the cheapest, or you have to be, faster, cheaper, better. You have to be one of those 3 things. Or you can just be yourself and build a brand and have people out there like yourself putting me in front of your brothers and talking about me. And that just helps because I am here for something completely different than most lending institutions. I am actually here to help. And that's what makes us completely different than when you put a loan on a computer, you don't know where that thing is going. Go to India where it's going and somebody's telling you no, and you don't know. When you're dealing with us when you put your application here, and you got somebody that's rooting for you and definitely just trying to make sure that you get the money that you need.
Okay, brothers, do any of you all have any questions that you'd like to ask Daniel before I let him off the hook? Or you could say something for the good and welfare of the Bigger Better Business program for tonight. It's up to you. No? Yes? I'm reading your faces. I'm seeing nothing. Okay. So let me thank you, Daniel, for your time, your energy, your presence. And I don't take any of this for granted. God bless me with the opportunity to get to meet you and know you and beat you in pool. And I really appreciate him for that. And I'm so glad the brothers allowed this platform to happen so that we can spotlight your business and let people know how wonderful you are. Again, the show can be watched on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, even after we close the show out. Any last words for good and welfare, Daniel, that you want to share with anybody?
Again, we just let everybody know, please do not be afraid to give us a call. We will take the time that's necessary. We're very consultative in nature as far as talking to you about your business. We're not here to shoot you down or make you feel bad in any way. The only bad question is a question that's never been asked. And we just say, ask us the question. It's free to call. Just get on our phone, schedule a time, and we'll be more than pleased to talk. And yes, you can find us at www.operatingintheblack.com. That's www.operatingintheblack.com. And you can see my number there. It's 813-669-7742.
Hey, there you go, guys. 813-669-7742. That's how I get in contact with him, and that's how you can get in contact with him. He answers his own phone, so you don't have to worry too much about a thousand people calling you back going, who? It's going to be Daniel. It's going to be Daniel. He's going to take care of you. I've trusted him with a couple of friends and a couple of loans. That he's always done a stellar job, and I can't say enough about how people receive working with him. They love working with him. And so if you have anybody that you can share with him and get in front of him, please do so. All right, Daniel, I'm gonna put you backstage. Don't go anywhere. I'm gonna close out the show. But I want to take a picture with you and the brothers in just a second.
95.
Whoop.
I see.
Okay. All right. This is Inside the Business Mind with Coach Powell. This is one of the premier shows we do, all sponsored by the Brothers of Phi Beta Sigma at Theta Tau Sigma chapter in Northern Virginia. We are here to promote, to bring you excellence when it comes to small business and making sure that we are doing everything that we can do to lift up the small business community as best we possibly can. If you ever need any help or any resources or anything like that, here's how you find me. Let me just share my little scroll around here if I can figure out. Look at that. I'm a professional, no matter what they say. Every once in a while, I get it right. So good to see you guys. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to close the show out now. Again, you can always watch and keep the chat going. Even if you, even after the show, the chat still going to be available and up and running for you guys. Ask any questions you have. And if I can't get back to you with an answer, and Daniel can't get back to you with an answer, the universe might get back to you with an answer. So feel free to put that information out there. All right, I'm ending the program now. You all have a good evening. Thank you very much.